vichar, vichar karile chitte pabe chamaka. You will feel wonderful. If you accept it by systematic deliberation about the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, then you will feel that it is wonderful. So, our Krishna consciousness movement is not a force that we are pushing something forcibly to anyone. There is complete judgment. But unfortunately, if one cannot understand, that is not our fault. One must have the intelligence to understand. Otherwise, logically, philosophically, it is perfect.
In the impure state of a living being, the respective senses are fully engaged in mundane affairs. If the ear is not engaged in the service of the Lord by hearing about Him in the Bhagavad Gita or in the Srimad Bhagavatam, certainly the holes of the ear will be filled up with some rubbish.
Yeah. This is the secret. We have got the ears and we have got the sound also, just like we are reading this book. See, if we don't fill up our ears with this transcendental sound, then it will be filled up with some rubbish things. It cannot remain empty. Either you fill up with transcendental message or you fill up with rubbish nonsense. Two ways. So if you take care that your ear holes are always filled up with the transcendental message of Krishna, so there is no scope for rubbish things to enter into it. So therefore, our attempt should be 24 hours hearing, Kirtaniya Sada, 24 hours. As soon as you get time, read books, discuss among yourself, prashanka. Don't fill up the ears with rubbish things. Then advance will be choked up.
Therefore the messages of the Bhagavad Gita and the Srimad Bhagavatam should be preached all over the world very loudly. That is the duty of a pure devotee who has actually heard about them from the perfect sources. Many want to speak something to others, but because they are not trained up to speak on the subject matter of Vedic wisdom, they are all speaking nonsense, and the people are receiving them with no sense. There are hundreds and thousands of sources for distributing mundane news of the world, and people of the world are also receiving them. Similarly, the people of the world should be taught to hear the transcendental topics of the Lord, and the devotee of the Lord must speak loudly so that they can hear. The frogs loudly croak, with the result that they invite the snakes to eat them. The human tongue is especially meant for chanting the Vedic hymns, and not for croaking like the frogs. The word asati, used in this verse, is also significant. Asati means a woman who has become a prostitute. A prostitute has no reputation for good womanly qualities. Similarly, the tongue, which is given to the human being for chanting the Vedic hymns, will be considered a prostitute when it is engaged in the matter of chanting some mundane nonsense.
Yeah. Just like a chaste woman has got good reputation. Similarly, chaste tongue means chaste tongue and ear. Jivhadu, our spiritual life begins from tongue. Jivhadu, Sevanmukhehi jivhadu, Sayameva spurattata, atasya Krishna namadi, na bhavid graham indriyai. These mundane blunt senses, they cannot receive or understand what is Krishna, what is Krishna's name, what is Krishna's form, what is Krishna's pastimes, what is Krishna's paraphernalia, so many things, Krishna's. What is Krishna's word? Na bhavet grahyam indriyai. These senses cannot do. But when the one sense, the tongue, is engaged in devotional service, the tongue is engaged in devotional service means chant Hare Krishna. This tongue is specially given to you. The dog, the cat cannot chant Hare Krishna, but you can, because God has given you the opportunity. So, just like chaste woman means he is meant for her husband. Similarly, chaste tongue means which is meant for chanting Hare Krishna. That is chaste tongue. And tasting Krishna prasadam. So if you can simply engage your tongue, chanting Hare Krishna and tasting Krishna prasadam, you become perfect. Simple thing. There is no difficulty. Whenever there is time, chant Hare Krishna, and when you feel hungry, take Krishna Prasad and live here peacefully. Don't talk rubbish, then life is successful. Is there any difficulty? We are trying to give you Krishna Prasadam. We are giving you chance to chant Hare Krishna. That is our duty. So you take advantage of it and make your life successful. Otherwise, it is Jivha Dardurike Va Shuta Dardurikam. The frog's tongue, very busy in croaking. But this means inviting death. Please come here, I am sitting here. So similarly, talking nonsense, we allow our span of life being diminished by the sunrise and sunset. But if we talk about the Urugaya Gatha, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then our life, it will be eternal. Simply by doing these two things, Sevanmukhi hi jivhado. If we simply engage the jivha, the tongue, in the transcendental loving service of the Lord, then we can see God eye to eye. Then, read it one verse more.
Barak param pattakarita jushtam, Barak param pattakarita jushtam, Barak param pattakarita jushtam, Barak param pattakarita jushtam, Apyuttamangam nanamen mukundam, Apyuttamangam nanamen mukundam, Shavo karo no kurute saparyam, Shavo karo no kurute saparyam, Hare lasat kanchana kankanova, Hare lasat kanchana kankanova.
Bhara. It is Bhara. Bhara parang patta pirita justya maputtamangam na namen mukundam. Savo karo no kurute sabajyam Hare lasat kanchana kankanova. So you can read the word meaning.
Bhara, Bhara, a great burden, Parang, heavy, Patta, silk, Kirita, turban, Jushtam, dressed with, Opi, even, Uttama, upper, Angam, parts of the body, Na, never, Namet, bow down, Mukundam, Lord Krishna, the deliverer, Shavo, dead bodies, Karo, hands, no, do not, Kurute, do, Sapajam, worshipping, Hare, of the personality of Godhead, Lasat, glittering, Kanchana, made of gold, Kankano, bangles, Va, even though. Translation: the upper portion of the body, though crowned with a silk turban, if not bowed down before the personality of Godhead, who can award mukti, freedom, is a heavy burden only. And the hands, though decorated with glittering bangles, if not engaged in the service of the personality of Godhead Hari, are like those of a dead man.
So you have seen Indian turban, very, very big, made of silk and jewels. Perhaps you have seen the typical turban by the Indian Airways, big turban. So what is the use of the turban? It is a great burden. If you do not bow down before the Lord. Similarly, if you don't engage your hand in the service of the Lord, it is exactly like the dead man's hand. If the dead man's hand, if it is decorated with nice, glittering golden bangles, then what is the beauty? There is no beauty. So I will discuss tomorrow again. Thank you.